There was a healthy little boy. His name was Harry Maguire. He loved playing football as it was one of his favorite hobbies. One day, while he was playing football on a sunny Sunday, he dropped to the floor suddenly and started to cough profusely. His parents then quickly rushed him to their family doctor. His name was Dr. Somchai. Harry starts explaining to the doctor after he had woken up about his symptoms. Dr. Somchai does his best and gives a diagnosis. He comes back to the family with some bad news.
I'm so sorry, but Harry has been diagnosed with a hereditary disease called cystic fibrosis.
Harry was so confused. So were his parents. They were thinking, what is cystic fibrosis?
Alright, cystic refers to cysts that are fluid-filled sacs wrapped in a membrane. Fibrosis means the thickening or scarring of connective tissues. It is an autosomal recessive disorder involving the mutation of the CFTR gene. One mutated gene is inherited from each parent. The CFTR gene, which stands for Cystic Fibrosis Transmembrane Conductance Regulator, codes for CFTR protein. The most common mutation is a delta F508 mutation. Delta means a deletion, and the F, which can also be written as Phi, is short for phenylalanine. And the 508 is the 508th amino acid in the CFTR protein. So the delta F508 mutation is where the 508th amino acid out of 1480 phenylalanine is deleted and missing. The mutations causes the CFTR channel to not be produced correctly and they get degraded.
In normal CFTR gene, it will produce the CFTR protein channel, which transport chloride out of cell, causing the change in concentration gradient. When this happens, sodium will move out via paracellular transport because of the concentration gradient. And when sodium and chloride travel out of the cell to the mucus secretion, the osmolarity changes will occur, causing the water to transport out too. When the water transport out to the mucus secretion, it causes the secretion of mucus to be supplied by water to not let it be too sticky but flowy. The first example would be the lungs. In the lungs, we breathe in oxygen and breathe out carbon dioxide, which when we are doing this pathway, pathogens can come through this pathway too. When the pathogen that came through into the lungs, it will meet the mucus secretion or the mucous membrane that would trap the pathogens. The mucus would be transported out of the lung via the cilia on the epithelium cell of the lungs, causing our body to be protected from the pathogens. Normally in the CFTR gene, it would transport out the chloride ion, and when the chloride ion would be transported out, sodium would be too, due to the concentration gradient. And when those two ions travel out, there would be a change in osmolarity pressure, which then the water would be transported out of the cell to the mucus, causing it to be thin or less dense and flowy. However, when the mutation in CFTR gene occurs, chloride to not be sent out to the mucus secretion. When this happens, there would be no change in concentration gradient, which results in sodium not going outside but staying inside the cell, which causes the osmolarity pressure of the cell to be higher than the mucus. Then the water from the mucus would be traveled down to our cell, which causes the mucus to be thicker, denser, and stickier. The thick mucus can cause severe problems with breathing and bacterial infections in the lung. Moreover, it can cause chronic coughing, wheezing, and inflammation. However, CFTR genes in skin works differently. Usually in CFTR, we transport chloride out, but in skin, we transport chloride in to save electrolytes. We transport chloride into the cell, causing exchange in concentration gradient. Then, because of the concentration gradient, sodium will come in too. And because of this, the osmotic pressure of our body and the environment is changed. So the water also travel into the body, making us receiving more electrolytes and saving more of them. However, in mutation of CFTR genes, the CFTR channel, chloride could not come in, sodium and water could not come too. This is why one of the ways to diagnose you have gene mutation or cystic fibrosis is to lick the forehead to test the saltiness of the skin.
Now to the pancreas. Indigestion. For people with cystic fibrosis, the small tubes that transport the enzymes, which are vital to the human life out of the pancreas, become blocked with mucus. The enzymes can build up in the pancreas instead of reaching the GI tract, causing the pancreas to become inflamed and can be scarred. There are 3 important enzymes from the pancreas that are very vital for the human life. First is lipase. This enzyme works together with bile, which your liver produces to break down and emulsify fat.
Lipase cannot leave the pancreas because the ducted transit is clogged. Because of this, lipase cannot go and emulsify the fat, which in the end, it leads to fatty stew.
Now let's put that all into a recap. Cystic fibrosis causes the mutation at the CFTR gene delta F508. It affects the density of the mucus, causing them to be thicker that can clog certain organs. And it can also impact many processes that are related to diffusion of ions, the chloride ions not being able to transport outside. Thank you for your attention. We hope that we have educated and informed something from our video.